Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Oh, well, I'll take this moment here to change my shirt since you can't see me anyways. Welcome, guys. Sun's down for his second nap of the day, and we're going to be making a video here. I've been wanting to share how where am I? Here I am. Yeah, I've been wanting to share how I make my decks. So I think since things have changed here with version 40, I think that there is some good things that I think people can learn from how I personally make decks. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. That thing. So we're gonna go on the Epic Games deck builder using Sparrow as a carry. Talk about how that transition into crit is important. We're gonna go over to Sparrow here. Sparrow. Okay, so we're gonna go to here. Sparrow, we're gonna have to consult this. 37, 44% crit, 25 and 11. 25 and 11. There you go. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna end at about 15 times 4. That's 60%. 60% crit chance? Seriously? 15 times 4. 60% crit chance? Wow. That's optimal for Sparrow? Wow. Interesting. Okay. Okay, interesting. All right, well, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so... Okay, let's do this. We'll figure it out as we do it. Let's start making this video here. Get our background music going. How does that sound? That sounds good enough, right? Yeah. Okay. Just a trade of Station 7. Wow, did I miss out on a lot of fun till now? Thanks. Nice. Glad that you enjoy it. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do this. I am really enjoying the new meta and these new cards that we have to play with. I have previously made a perfect deck structure video that kind of really showcased how to get the most stats and always have the most potential throughout the entire match, transitioning into the mid game, into the late game. Now though, I'm finding that with all these different cards that we have, that structure simply has gone out the window, and we simply have to try to do our best with these amazing cards that we have. I want to show you guys how I build my carry decks, because with the math, with that transition into crit, and with some very special cards that now exist, that is one complicated process. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Paragon Guide. I am Sylphin. We are taking a look here at Sparrow. We're going to use Sparrow as a example because she actually has a few interesting things that we can do with her that should showcase how I go about building a deck for her. I love teasing people and running away, Giovanni. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So we're going to start here on the Epic Games Deck Builder just because this is really nice to have the 0 total CP. It makes it really nice and simple here. I start out going with the end game deck. The end game deck that I think is going to be the most usual cards that I'm going to have in your typical game. And then we go into options, we do the early game, and then we fill in the mid game. End game, all of its options. After that, then we do the early game, and then we fill it in with the mid game. So here at the late game, for our ADCs, I know from the math that Warlord increases our DPS the most. For Sparrow here, we are going to now fill in the rest of her kit. Now, I know from going into her DPS curve that we need 11 CP's worth of crit chance in order to make that transition work. And in order to get that 11 CP all at once, the easiest way possible is simply a Spear of the Rift Hunter. Really no other way. I really like it nice and simple just to do that. Spear of the Rift Hunter, one of my go-to cards for crit chance, just because it has 3 CP, 1, 2, 3 right on it, makes it very nice and easy. Now, I will go a little above and beyond and go 12 CP into this card. Making it 11 is hard, just because one of these has to be 2, then you gotta make it up somewhere else with a 4-point card. I just make it nice and easy here and do that. So that's gonna be our transition card, and then I go into the rest of the crit. So for Sparrow here, she actually only needs 15-ish CP of attack speed, only 6 of crit, only 60% crit chance. Now that might seem a little low, and we might play around with that later, but I just want to get a kind of a rough ballpark. So we're going to go with Spear of the Rift Hunter, or we can take a look here at what are the other cards that can give us crit chance. Really not too much here that I want. Offensive maneuvers, no. None of these armors here, not health regen. Really just Rift Mage's Scepter. I only need 3 more CP into that, and I want to get it right away. So this Rift Mage's Scepter here, we get 1 as soon as we equip it, and then with 1 upgrade, I'm actually going to go into the Major Wound. So we'll have 16, make it nice and easy, because this I want to have a big card in the late game. 2 major strikes here is going to round that out. 2 12-point cards, very easy. Damage over time greater than crit chance. Is that what you mean, Vinyl? Okay, now we go into the crit bonus. Where is it? Now I go into the crit bonus. Why? Because this has a lot of options in a lot of cases. We have crit bonus attack speed, crit bonus health. We're not going to be doing that. Crit bonus lifesteal, and crit bonus power. All depends on what you need, what you want at the time for these heroes. Now, I am going to go for a Blade of Agora. Why? Simply because I know that I want another card that can give us lifesteal elsewhere. Blade of Agora, you always want, pretty much always, unless you're stuck in a really bad pinch, to have your crit bonus be a 9-point card with 1-point upgrades. We're going to add that. Now, why did I say we're going to get our lifesteal, which is very useful and needed on our carries? Why did I say we're going to get that elsewhere? Because there is a very, very important card for Sparrow called Hemorrhage. Very fantastic on our carries, on a lot of the other ones, but Sparrow has another advantage that a lot of other heroes don't, and that's Silent Indignation. It is kind of the same thing, except it doesn't give you as much attack speed, but it also doesn't give you that additional 15% damage. Silent Indignation in conjunction with a phase is very, very common, and I think Silent Indignation is probably a little bit of a better option for Sparrow, just so that you're not always taking that 15% damage and you don't really have to worry about it. And this doesn't also have a mana cost. So Silent Indignation, we're going to use this to get our lifesteal. For this one, I recommend 10% lifesteal. I don't recommend more than that, just because you're taking CP away from the damage part of your carry. And that's, I think, honestly, the most important part. For melee carries, 20% pretty much is a minimum, just because they're melee, probably taking more damage, and that's very effective. But for somebody like Sparrow, I think we're only going to get 10%. Greater Drain, that gives us our 10%. Perfect. Now, we have what we want here. We have made sure that our fully upgraded bonus on our crit damage bonus is all 1 point upgrades, and this has been informed by our flex card. Usually on other heroes, it's going to be your Hemorrhage on a lot of carries. That simply seems to be the meta right now. Or maybe even a Blink Shot on a Revenant instead. Blink Shot on Revenant is gold. That is kind of your flex card. Now, you have to fill in what they're missing in the stat department. In order to help do that, we also need a ward. Always, no matter who you're playing, no matter what role you're playing, what hero you're playing, no matter the situation, no matter your elo, no matter the scenario, I don't care. You always, no matter what, have a ward. For somebody like Sparrow here, you're going to keep this ward from the early game to simply keep it simple. Sage's ward, 1 CP of health, certainly doesn't hurt, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Because it's from the early game, we have all 1 point cards in it, or 1 point upgrades in it. Boom, nice and easy. Then, our last card here simply gives us the rest of what we need. Now, I'm going to be tailoring this deck for a certain purpose, so what we're actually going to do is get a Whirling Wand with 3 Major Strikes. Now you can see here we're at 58 total CP, so we need 2 more. Now how are we going to get those 2 more? I don't necessarily want more lifesteal, although that certainly wouldn't hurt, to be honest with you. Well, I kind of want more damage. I'm going to think in this scenario, guys, that we are making a Sparrow phase combo deck. This Sparrow deck here is going to be tailored to having a phase who's very meta right now, basically babysitting you, popping her ultimate on you, keeping you alive. So with her ultimate giving us attack speed and Silent Indignation giving us attack speed, I want a ton of power and a ton of crit. Now what we can do here is, because of Sparrow's affinity, she has a very unique opportunity here to go for 4 point wounds. Now, unfortunately though, we're gonna have to see how this works here, and we're gonna see what we can do. We already have a ton of crit. We already have a ton of crit here. Maybe we should just go into this Silent Indignation. Maybe we should just get a little bit more attack speed. Well, we can definitely do this. Okay, there you go. So what I have decided to do is on this last Riftmage Scepter here, we made this a 4-point wound, and then I added in 1 more CP of lifesteal, 12.5%. That's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that. More certainly doesn't hurt all that much. So now we have 60 total CP. At this point in my carry deck, I kind of recap and kind of take a look and do some simple additive math. How much power, how much attack speed, and how much crit do I have in this deck? Let's see. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Attack speed. 3. 3. 3 or 8. 3 or 5 in the in that attack speed. 3 or 8. And then crit. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Number of CP, no, but the number of power, the number of everything else. That's what we're wondering. Just very quickly, if you guys are interested in knowing how I count that stuff up, you simply go on here and you have to remember 1 CP is equal to 6 power, 5.5 attack speed, 4% crit, 5.5 attack speed, etc. etc. That's how you kind of count it up. So this Blade of Agora, for example, has 1, 2, 3, 4 CP of power. This Riftmage Scepter has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power, 7 CP of power, and then you include the 2 CP from the fully upgraded bonus. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 CP of power. This Riftmage Scepter has 4 plus the 1 on the Riftmage Scepter card itself, 5 total crit chance. So when we add all that up, we come over here and we can see for Sparrow that we have this much power, this much attack speed, and this much crit. Now, why is this 3-8? Well, we have 3 attack speed built on Sparrow, but if we want to consider when we use Silent Indignation, we get 5 additional attack speed only for 6 seconds. That we have 8. So it depends on what you want to consider. Do we have 3 attack speed? Do we have 8? I always try to be conservative because for the rest of the time, right? For the other 29 seconds, you don't have 8 attack speed. So we have 30, 3, and 17. So we add that up, 30, 47. We have 50 total CP in our deck. We go down here to 50. We can see that we should, according to the math, have 15 CP of crit chance, 9 into attack speed, and 21 into power. We can see we have a ton of power, an absolute ton of power, 50% more than we should. We are missing out on some attack speed that we should have, but when we use Silent Indignation, we'll actually be more in line with what the math says, and we have more crit than we need, making it a little bit more consistent, meaning when our phase does actually go on us with our ult, boom, we're going to be dealing more higher consistent damage. We're kind of tailoring this deck to do that, and I think that is a-okay. Now at this point, we have to consider, do we want maybe to take away less power and put it into crit? Maybe do we want 20 CP of crit in order to bring us up to 80% crit chance? Is 68% crit chance not enough? That maybe seem a little low. So what can we do? Well, we can simply go in here, take out this 3-point, put in this wound, and we've kind of maybe at this point tailored it to be a little bit more reliable damage. And that's pretty much the deck. That is what I go for. The Warlord here, again, still, we could go for power to make it even more ridiculous with Silent Indignation and a phase or something like that. But there you go. Now, we finished the endgame deck, and yeah, I'm happy, kind of. I don't know. It's okay, because I'm kind of thinking of a Stasis Gem as an option. Stasis Gem, very popular card in today's meta to deal with Revenant. Revenant obliterates a whole whack ton of people's ultimates, but you know what? This is going to be a... You have a phase as a support, as a Sparrow. This is the deck you use. So now that we've done the end game, I go with the early game. Next step is to fill in the early game and then go into the mid game. In the early game, I maybe want some options. I want definitely a healer token as an option if you just need it, with maybe a cast or with a strike token, or I want just three strike tokens perhaps. But really, I don't really like doing that with my carries unless I really rely on them. So let's do that this time. 3 strike tokens if you have a phase with a circlet of health right off the bat or something like that, or if you have not so strong support, so you can go with strike token and a healer's token just to stay alive. Then I think of the next card. Well, the Sage's Ward, definitely a very safe option, but as a carry, maybe you can get away with another 6-point card, and we know that from Sparrow's power scaling here, we need a ton of power. We need 12 CP of power before attack speed. We get 5 from the ward, so we need something that gives us a lot of power, but not very much attack speed. Unfortunately, there's no card that gives us only power, so we have to go with a Windcarver Blade with a whole bunch of minor strikes. We just keep going. Windcarver Blade, a whole bunch of minor powers, and there you go. So we're at 36 cards, and we're at 36 cards out of 40, and now's the time when you have to decide: do we put in another card, or do we give ourselves some options? Do we give ourselves some options with the last bit here? We could do another Windcarver Blade, very much make it a possibility for us to make it easier in the early game to get our power spikes, to get stuff equipped. That could very much be possible. However, I personally think that would be better for us to get some options. What are those options gonna be? A Blink Charm, 110% as a Sparrow, and just what I said before, that Stasis Gem. Let's get it as an option if you really, really need it. Now, with that said, we have 38 out of 40 cards, and we're just gonna maybe increase our number of strike tokens, perhaps. That could be an option. Blech. This is turned into kind of a crappy... into a crappy video here. Another thought that I'm having, maybe we get rid of 2 strike tokens here and simply leave that early game open for something else. However, we also need our dummy ward, which I I always make the Guardian's Ward just so you have that health. The Guardian's Ward. And now if we want to get in another Windcarver Blade, we'd have to get rid of 3 strike tokens, which or 3 strike tokens, and simply that's not possible. So at this point, we're just simply going to have to go for some more tokens, which, I mean, we have a ton. So at this point, we're gonna actually give ourselves a health potion. If you want in the early game to strike tokens into a health potion, something like that as an option. And there you go. That is how I build my carry decks, ladies and gentlemen. I start in the end game, usually with that first crit card. Just make sure I have that nailed down so that transition is good, and then I fill in the rest with the option. I depend on what my crit damage bonus card is going to be based on my optional cards, stuff like that. Usually your crit damage bonus kind of ends up being your lifesteal, just because the 1 point there and then the 4 equals 10% lifesteal, which is perfect. Usually it ends up being that, but in this case, we have lifesteal as another option. Then I get my early game ward in there, plus a fill card, which in this case was the Whirling Wand here with 3 major strikes. There you guys go. That is how I do this, and I'll finish it off even with how I figure out how the transition is going to go. How exactly do you know when to transition from that power attack speed into that crit? So from here, we're going to go from the early game. We're going to go, let's say we get our strike token and healer token. Wonderful. Then we go into a Windcarver Blade, because we're on Raptor's side. We're just freezing our lane. No need the wards necessarily. We get the Windcarver Blade. Then, guaranteed, without a doubt, in every scenario, at least get your ward at this point, followed up by your next Windcarver Blade. At this time in this deck, you're trying to think, what are my options? At this point, we have some damage, and we're probably looking at this point like, what are those optional cards? Probably we're going to get our Silent Indignation for those Raptors, and of course just to have that attack speed, which we could certainly use. Now at this point, you're probably not going to have your healer token, strike token anymore, and at this point in this deck provides us with a unique challenge, because we need to get into crit around the 37 CP mark. So then we need to go into power first. That is what gives us the most DPS at this point. We're still not at when we transition into crit. So the interesting part in this deck, the way that I've made it here, and that we could maybe tailor it after a lot of thinking and tinkering with this, we could maybe start going into Spear of the Rift Hunter. Now, the interesting part of this is, as soon as we equip the Spear of the Rift Hunter, we should be transitioning into crit. So what this is telling me is we need the Spear of the Rift Hunter minus... Okay, so this is... You're getting a very candid video here. We know that the Spear of the Rift Hunter is 12 points. We can easily get that by getting rid of our early game Windcarver Blades. Perfect. Now that just means that we need 9 CP for our Blade of Agora, meaning at 43 CP, I can transition effectively into crit. Now we can simply go, okay, so we can therefore start getting the Spear of the Rift Hunter. We can get 1, 2 upgrades. We drop our Windcarver Blades, pick up our Blade of Agora, meaning, boom, we are right there at 43 CP. Now you're saying, well, we fully transitioned into crit here at 43, and you said to do it at 37. That's because we have to add on the Silent Indignation here, and the fact that we have our ward, etc., etc. That was the transition to crit. Another option would be work backwards. Aha! Here is our 37 CP with with all of this stuff. What are our stats at this point? Have we met our target for that transition point? Well, we go over here to Sparrow, 11 in CP into crit. We know we have 12 at this point. 5 into attack speed. Well, we spent 4 on the silent indignation, so that should free up 1 CP for elsewhere, and 17 into power, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we know that something is funky here, and we need more power, meaning we simply have to go 13, 16, and at this point we can transition. So that, there we go. We know that if we get the first 2 upgrades of this whirly want, and then we can transition into crit. And that's kind of the fun part of trying to figure this out. How does that early game work going into the late game? So as you can see here, we're out there running around with 31 CP. We have all of this equipped. And we're running around, we're saving our CP, and then finally, boom, we drop our 2 Wing Carver blades, get the Spear of the Rift Hunter, get this Blade of Agora, and 40 CP. We've nailed it. We've got the most DPS at all. So that's kind of what I do to try to figure out. I make a little note of this in my deck notes here that I have as a Word doc. I kind of make a note so that I know how to transition appropriately. Even if you didn't, you can still go that. What you can do at this point is tinker around with this even further. Tinker around with these cards, which they are, how much is on them in terms of their upgrades to make that transition even perfect. I've seen it done to a T in some replays. It's pretty impressive. Talk for long enough. There you guys go. What do you think of how I build my carries? It really is quite easy. It's maybe not easy, but it is actually quite interesting to try to match everything up, build a deck for a specific purpose, and try to figure out how to best fulfill that purpose. And then, of course, the early game and the mid game, and then that transition point, figuring out exactly what upgrades you have to get and when, and etc., etc. Very interesting. There you go. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think about this. And if you have any sort of advice for people that want to build their own carry decks, please let me know down in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive. Okay, there we go. That's interesting. There we go. Okay. I like the flip style you have. It just leaves less room in your deck for situational cards. Flip style. Oh. 1 point cards, yeah. How long was that video? It felt like it was longer than it really needed to be. 25 minutes? Are you serious? this. Seriously? Yeah, oh yeah, flip from damage to crit. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's make my let's make brawler decks. Okay. Okay, fighters, yeah. Fighters are in a very interesting position in today's meta. Fighters are in a pretty interesting position here in today's meta. Back on Legacy, there was the tank meta where pretty much everybody went tank. Monolith dropped, and since then we've seen damage fighters, we've seen crit fighters, and now personally we are seeing bruiser, brawler, utility fighters in today's meta. In this video, I want to show you how I build my fighter decks, because it's actually really quite interesting. Lots of optional cards. How do you get that tankiness but still get good value for your CP? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Paragon Guide. I am Sylphin. We're going to be using Grux here as my example of a fighter, as he's very much meta, and he has some interesting options for him in terms of being a frontline fighter. Now, like I said, fighters right now, it's seemingly relegated to power, attack speed, and tankiness. They need to be able to sustain in the front line while also do some good damage. They definitely, some of them especially, have some pretty good burst potential and can use that to isolate high priority targets so that the rest of the team can really come in and take them out. Then they transition into just frontline, body blocking, damage, pseudo damage dealer, soaking up the hits sort of role. Now for Grux, I usually start with the tankiness, with the tank part of these decks, personally. And for that, I usually go and try to look at what unique cards do I have at my disposal to deal with tankiness. Thermobond is a very meta card right now that is still situational. It requires stuns, roots, and knockups on the enemy team, but it does synergize very well with sustain when you build armor on it. Now, Thermobond, I pretty much always have as an option in my fighter decks, because if they have tons of stuns, roots, knockups, oh boy, the value is tremendous out of that. Now, what I personally do is take care of ability penetration. In my math video, go check it out. Health versus armor. You'll know that ability armor, you need a ton of incoming ability damage. They have 2. They have 3 casters dealing damage with a lot of abilities in order to warrant more than taking care of ability penetration, which is about 30. So it works out that this Thermobond, if you put 2 2-point barriers, it'll be a 12-point card, which works perfect for a tuned barrier with 3 3-point cards. That makes that card 12 points. That makes this card 12 points. Very easily swappable, and you don't have to do some crazy math in your head during your game. So the Thermobond with 2 2-point barriers, making it just exactly 30 ability armor. Perfect. That's really all that I would recommend personally on my decks. Thank you, my goodness, for the PCL with that incredible host. We're making a video. This is going to be in the video. You guys go check out this video. We're literally recording right now. Thank you so much as we're going through how I build my fighter decks. There's our Thermobond. The pressure is on. So the Thermobond, that takes care of my ability armor. And now we have to go for the physical armor. The basic armor. For Grux, he has a wonderful opportunity here for blood-soaked armor. Very, very effective card for Raptors, for Orb Prime, and also if the enemy team has a couple of carries or a lot of melee heroes or anybody that's hitting with basic attacks, very, very effective. So for this, really, I'm going to pretty much count on the fact that I'm going to keep this pretty much the entire game with 3 3-point guards. Why so much guard? Go check out my math video. Health and basic and basic armor, very much effective and pretty much equal in its effectiveness in reducing the basic damage that you take. So that's why we generally get, in my opinion, more guard than anything else. There is that 12-point card. Remember, I am keeping the options for these 2 cards out just so that we can get to 60 CP and then put those options in later. Oh my god! There, I paused the recording. Hello, NATO Sick. Hello, Jizzy Dizzler. Oh my goodness. This is gonna be NATO Sick. Thank you for the follow. I have everything turned off here. I have everything turned off because I'm making a video. But oh my goodness, thank you very much, Zippy D Wonder Dog. Thank you very much for the follow, Slatinator. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Making some videos while my son is asleep. As tomorrow I'm busy with family and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. Making some fighter decks. There's a ton of people here, I'm sure, that are watching that can give some pretty great, absolutely much better advice than I could. So please, guys, put your comments, put in your tips in the comments, and people can learn from that. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys don't mind me being weird here and making videos on some of this stuff. So thank you guys very much. The Judgment 91. Oh my goodness, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome, guys. Angel Inferno. Welcome to the stream. I'm not your typical streamer. I stream myself making videos. I stream obviously normally every day all the time. But yeah, so there you go. I'm so sorry. I really will love this video. So I'm gonna turn off these notifications. I'm so sorry. My son will be up soon. I hope you guys understand. Boy Mambo, thank you guys. If you guys follow and whatnot in the next little while, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll just I have to get this done. I'm so sorry. Okay, so blood-soaked armor. I've taken care. Stream yourself eating salad. my lunches, yeah. Okay. So blood-soaked armor, Thermobond. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. So there's that. Then what do I do? Then I go on to the utility cards, correct? Yes. Then I go onto the utility cards. Then I go onto the utility cards. Right? So I took care of the armor, then the utility cards, then my ward, and then I kind of recap after that. Yeah. Okay. 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 Now that we've gotten our armor, I go onto the utility cards and kind of take a look at what things are going to work well with my hero. Now, Grux has some interesting options. If you guys know anything about what I do, you'll know that there's a ton of math that I do. Trader's Touch has tremendous value on fighters due to their poor power scaling, and everything else. Trader's Touch on fighters is worth it pretty much almost all the time. If a target is at 25 to 30% health, it still is paying for itself. Trader's Touch is going to be a great way to deal as much damage as possible with at least the CP we spend in it. So we're spending 5 CP, technically 6, for this Trader's, for the passive. It's going to be worth so much more than that. Great option here to deal some damage. We're going to throw that in, and then we're gonna see how this acts. Now, Tainted Magic is another option for Grux because he has his Double Pain, a very, very quick ability that you can always use to pretty much have this dealing damage all the time. 8% of the target's current health over 4 seconds. You can Double Pain every 5 seconds. Very interesting option to say the least here on Tainted Magic. Let's throw it in. We're just taking a look, seeing what cards might work here on Grux. Ash of the Witch, not necessarily on Grux. Not sure if I've seen that. Bounty Stalker, we're not going for crit. Hemorrhage, interesting idea, but I think we're going to want a little bit more power in order just to kind of work with his burst. He does have a good burst potential with Double Pain, Smash and Grab, everything else. He has some potential, so I want maybe a strict more damage card for the rest of the damage potential here. Stinger Boost, interesting option. Double Pain every once in a while, definitely proc Stinger Boost, but again, a little too situational. Power Chord is an interesting option. Power and attack speed, two of the perfect things we want to increase our damage, at least what we're spending on damage, but also bring some utility to our team. On hit with basic attack, apply Blight to enemy for 4 seconds. Since he uses a ton of abilities all the time, his Double Pain every 5 seconds, there's actually a Blight card that works on abilities, and that is our Thick Blood. Very, very much meta, so let's throw that in there because every 5 seconds we can be applying this Blight along with a Smash and Grab, our charge, and our ultimate as well. So there is Thick Blood as an option. What are some other things? Basically, guys, I go around just checking out what is an option. Maybe even a Quenching Scales is an option, so that maybe if we are 1v1ing somebody, or we're just doing our thing, we can heal ourselves. Is an interesting option. Maybe you want that. Maybe you're on a competitive team and you want to coordinate Quenching Scales with the rest of your team. Absolutely a strong option. Scourging Tails here. Interesting option, but I'm not sure I would do it on Grux. And basically, I just go through and see what interesting options are available to us. Now, at this point, I have 5 cards. You need a ward. Whoever you are, whatever you're playing, does not matter. You need a ward. For this, I usually go for the Guardian's Ward because it gives us health, little wee bit of power. I put it in there, and then I take a recap. I do a recap of what is my deck at this point, and then I go, do I like it or do I not? Well, Thermobond, Blood-Soaked Armor for our tankiness for our armor. Well, at this point, I think we need more health. If you guys take a look at my math video for that, the armor and the health, we need a lot of health. You need a lot of health to increase your effective HP and to validate going into this much armor. So on this Guardian's Ward, perfect option. 3 greater healths. Boom. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 CPs worth of health, just like that. At this point, I take a look at the total CP and I go, okay, what else do we need? What else can we go into? Guardian's Ward, Blood-Soaked Armor, Thick Blood, Tainted Magic, Traitor's Touch, and Thermobond. Well, we have 6 CP to spend. How do I want to spend this exactly? Is there any more guard options? Not necessarily. I could maybe go for some more barrier. 2, 4, 5 CP of ability armor. I may want a bit more. To be honest with you, it may not be the most efficient, but it is just going to make that burst damage from abilities hurt just a little bit less, and that can have an effect on your psyche, on stuff like that. There we go. We're going to add that in there. We have 4 CP to spend, and this is when I kind of start looking at the damage stats, and I try to even stuff out. Because we know the math behind Grux and most fighters, they really like their attack speed. To be honest, they really do. Attack speed and power almost the same in terms of increasing your DPS per CP. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of power. Never mind the damage we're going to get from Traitor's Touch, meaning that probably need more attack speed, to be honest with you. We have 1, 2 CP of attack speed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 power. 6 power, 2 attack speed. I'm going to go on this, in this scenario, and go with 2, 2 kinetic. That brings us up to 6 total CP here. 60 total CP for our end game deck. I then take this, I write my little notepad, make sure that, well, I remember what my deck is here, as we do now go into our options. What are some options that we want in this case? Well, Blood-Soaked Armor is just too good to get rid of for another card. Honestly, Raptors, very, very, very important. Yeah, maybe in the late game, you kind of don't need Blood-Soaked Armor when you're taking Prime, because your carry will just burst through it. That is a good point. But you know what? It's so easy to keep. We're just going to keep it. Thermobond, we do, if there isn't any stuns, roots, or knocks up on the enemy team, we can make the CP work more for its money with a simple tuned barrier. Thermobond's a 12-point card. This has to be a 12-point card. We're going to put a greater barrier for 3, 6 total CP, and then 3 with, we're going to put in another greater barrier. We have 9 in here with 1 greater health. Boom. That is going to be the option. I make that little note, Tune Barrier or Thermobond, and then we take a look at the rest of the deck. Thick Blood is an interesting option. Maybe you don't need it. For some reason, you know, you're competitive and you're on a competitive team and your team has solidified the phase pick, meaning the enemy team is not going to have a phase. They don't have a Chimera. They don't have a Rampage. Yes, Thick Blood does work on quenching scales, but maybe there is a better option for Thick Blood. Tainted Magic and Traitor's Touch on Grux, personally, I would just keep these. The Tainted Magic's always going to be going down because of your double pain. Traitor's Touch, every swing, that's 5% of their health. Oh, tremendous value on fighters. So Thick Blood, I honestly think, is the only optional card here out of all the rest. And Thick Blood, personally, in today's meta, Stasis Gem is just so damn good. The only issue at this point is Stasis Gem is a 5-point card and Thick Blood is not. So at this point, we can maybe put another upgrade on Thick Blood to make it 5, so it's an easily swapped card. We could put another higher option on another card, and I think that's exactly what we are going to do. At this point, we're going to save, go over here, and if you get Thick Blood, or if you get Thick Blood, then you're simply going to go over to Traitor's Touch and get a 1-point kinetic instead. So that's just the optional card. Make sure you make a little note to yourself here. that if you get thick blood, you have to... oh, no, that doesn't work, actually. So let me fix this. Oh my god, there's going to be an insanely long video. Ugh. And there we go. I've taken away 1 CP of the of kinetic and put it into power here. So we know the thick blood, stasis gem are our options. If we don't need the thick blood, you can go into the stasis gem. It's only going to help your frontline sustain and validate Tainted Magic and Traitor's Touch. If you don't need the Thermobond, you can make that CP get more value for its money in the Tuned Barrier. That is our options. I start in the end game, and then now we go to the early game. What are some early game cards here for Grux? Well, for Grux, mainly you play him in the jungle, and he needs a Sylphin. It's up to you which Sylphin you have. I've seen Stalker's Sylphin, I've seen Sage's Sylphin, you can see in a Reaper's Sylphin. It's really up to you. Let's just keep it simple here with a Sage's Sylphin. There you go. You can also play Grux in the off lane. So, Healer Potion and Healer Token. I don't think, to be honest with you, there's very many good health regen options. There's not. So, simply, if you need an additional Healer Token in the off lane, there you go. 2 Healer Tokens. After that, we need to go into our ward. In either in the jungle or in the off lane, you have to get your ward next. So simply we go here and go into our ward. The early game, your jungler, basically an assassin, ganking lane to lane. You're an assassin at that point. So we're going to build them as one. Sage's ward here with some minor strikes is a perfect card. After that, we still want a bit of damage. It's still the early game, still wanting to be that kind of sort of damage dealer, and personally, that's what we're going to go for. Heck, let's go for it. We know that fighters require attack speed. They do. Due to the poor power scaling, they rely on attack speed and crit to really increase their DPS. We're going to go for a Whirling Wand, but go for some minor strikes just because you need that little bit of power in the early game in order to get going. Whirling Wand, there you go. So at this point, we need to consider maybe some optional cards in that mid game. We've gotten our Sage's Ward, we've gotten our Whirling Wand, you've gotten your Blood-Soaked Armor without those upgrades because of Raptors. Maybe you can get your Stasis Gem or your Thick Blood if you really need it early. And what is another option here? Well, we can get some more tankiness and damage. We can try to maybe go into transition into our late game deck in the mid game. A perfect card for that, one that I always fall back to, is the Elder Mage Amulet. It gives us power, max health, and max health when fully upgraded. Another option here, just to be really fancy about it, would be to go for the Adamant Edge. What we can do here is just simply put the lesser healths on here, so we have 3 CP of health, which is what the other one had as well, and just minor strikes. So you can choose when you want with the upgrades. There is that is. Now at this point, we have to think of some other options for Grux. So we have one CP's worth of or 1 equipment slot, and do I have a dummy ward? I do not. Dummy ward, absolutely very much needed. I always tend to get my Guardian's ward as that ward, and there you go. There's the deck. We're done. We started with the late game, started with the tankiness, made sure we thought about what options we needed. We went into our utility cards with Thick Blood, if we don't need Thick Blood, Stasis Gem, Tainted Magic, Traitor's Touch, tremendous value. Absolutely tremendous value. You're spending 14 CP, but this is going to act like way more than that in the damage department, trust me. And then our ward, here on the Guardian's ward, and then just some other good cards. So Thick Blood Stasis Gem. There you go. And then we filled in, we went to the early game, and then made sure we had options with the Sylphin and the offlane option, and then filled in the mid game with things that we need. There you guys go. That is how I build my fighter decks. This is pretty standard, to be honest with you. Blood-Soaked Armor, fantastic for corruption-based heroes. Attained Magic Trader's Touch on Grux is a wondrous opportunity, to be honest with you. It's fantastic. Other heroes, obviously, that aren't corruption don't do that, but there's still some great cards here for this for your fighters. There you guys go. That is the way that I build my fighters. Guys on stream, don't go away. I'm just gonna finish this video. Don't go away. I'll just finish this video, and then we'll probably do supports after this. Oh, or my sun's up. But we'll see. We'll see. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Oop. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this deck, or how I build my decks. Personally, this is kind of my thought process that I go. This is what I do. I find this is one of the easiest ways to make sure that you have a good deck. Makes the most sense to me. Late game deck, go into the early game, figuring out those options, and then filling in the mid game works out really well. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys have any advice or any tips, please leave that down there, as I would love for people to learn not only from this video, but also what the community has to say. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account, where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive. Go, baby. Where is that? There's that video. How long was that? That felt like it was exceedingly long. Oh, 21-minute long video. Okay. 21-minute video. I thought it was informative. I hope it is. Good job, Sylphin. Thanks. Thank you very much, Minimalistic. Really appreciate that. Oh, DJ428. Hey, I'm Rafi Kingle. Tommy Bat. Thank you very much for the follow. Anybody else? Thank you very much for following. If you followed before them, thank you very much. Again, we're making these videos here, and yeah, I've been wanting to share how I create my decks since version 40, because they've really changed stuff here. Would you build Greystone in a much different way than Grux? But he doesn't have the corruption options, so he yeah, so he has like Satori Cloak is a great utility option for him, because he just like gets in there and just right. Thick Blood for his Q. Yeah, that's a kind of an option. There's still lots of options for him. He's just relatively kind of simple in that way. So, hello, Decker X2. How you doing? Welcome. Yeah. So there's that. Tainted is universal? Am I an idiot? What? Oh, it is. Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot all about that. I really wish they would change the color. to make that a little bit more obvious. Yeah, Tainted is universal. I don't think Greystone could get away with Tainted, but I think it's an interesting option. I think it's an interesting option, for sure. Like, you know, your Q lasts for a long time. That only keeps refreshing that 4-second duration, and then you have your leap, which would also proc it, so... Yeah, Tainted Magic, definitely an option. Incessant Onslaught on Greystone, it sounds like a good idea. It is in the early game, it actually is. But in the late game, your ult comes off cooldown so quick anyways. When I tried it, it didn't really seem like it was doing much. Can you give your opinion on my deck, Broken Nightmare? To be honest, I barely have time, so I'm sorry. I barely have time to do my own things, so I'm sorry. I won't be able to do that, so... This is a good deck! I want to use this! Can I use this? Can I use this? I think this is better than my own Grux deck. Where is my own Grux deck? Where is it? This is totally better than my own Grux deck. Where are you? Oh no, I forgot about Madstone and Flashfire! Oh, I'm an idiot. What? Oh, are you serious? Actually, you know what? I kind of like this better. Just because you get a more even distribution. And I actually like that better. I like that better. I like that better. This is hilarious. Cup of the Vampire, Power Chord, Thermobond. Oh, it is actually it is actually very similar to mine. I like the deck I just created for Grux more than my actual Grux deck. Oh boy. That's hilarious. Okay. Support decks. Phase. I know Phase is very meta, but I don't really want to use her as a... I don't want to use Phase as an example because she's not the best affinity for a support, to be honest. Order growth heroes are way better as supports. Narbash is pretty meta. Yeah, Fushma, I agree. Narbash should probably be a little bit more meta. How about my Bay Muriel? Forgot I wasn't even following you. Been about since I had like 200 subs. Really, Charlie? Holy crap. Narbash? He's more meta than Muriel, I think. Yeah. I think he would be a good person to... Yeah. Okay. Wouldn't building a bunch of health be better for Thermobond? Oh, because it's a percentage? Maybe. Do you have anything up for version 40 Aurora? Yes. Yes, I do have that deck. I do have that deck up and ready to go. I just haven't gotten the chance to play her well, make sure the deck works, and do a video on it. So, you're one of the most informative. Oh, thanks. I can't feel the benefit of Thermobond. Oh, when it works, you'll know. When it works, you'll know. Especially if you built some power or some armor. You'll know. Oh boy, you'll know. Keep in mind there's a reason FaZe was banned in every match in PCL. Yes. Yes, I know, Dread. Her kit is what makes her really, really powerful, I think. Not necessarily her affinities. That's a thing to say, I guess. But yeah. All right, so let's do a support deck here. Let's do a support deck or a support thing. All right, supports. All right, support decks. Okay, so supports. They're really interesting. They're pretty linear, unfortunately, but there are some unique options depending on your affinities. Blah blah blah. And what else? They're the least exciting to build for. If you ask me. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. All right. Let's go. Making decks for supports, unfortunately, hasn't been overly exciting since I've been playing Paragon. There's just simply been certain cards that are just better suited for them, and oh, my son wrecked that. Hold on. I'm gonna call the wife. Calling the wife. The wife is always in charge. Remember that. Remember that. Even though I absolutely hate the saying happy wife, happy life, because it should go both ways. It's always smart. It's always smart. All right. We have the blessing. All right. All right. Sylphin is the goat? What? I'm a goat? Sylphin, she just... Well, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Building decks for supports, unfortunately, hasn't been overly exciting. Ever since Paragon, I started playing Paragon, they've been fairly linear, and there's been certain cards you just pretty much always get for them. In the early game, you're very starved, so you're really trying to just get those very important cards, leaving out transitions and other things like that pretty much not available for supports. I want to showcase how I personally build supports here in version 40, as you know what, I think I'm pretty good at support, and I think I have a pretty good understanding, so maybe you guys would learn a thing or two. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Paragon Guide. I am Sylphin. So, we're using the Epic Games deck builder just because, very nice, simple, 0 total CP, you can see 60 CP, etc, etc. We're picking Narbash because he's kind of the most meta, besides Decker, as a pick for when FaZe isn't picked, which she's always picked. We're not going to use FaZe just because she doesn't have the best support affinities, in my opinion. Growth order supports are superior in the support options. FaZe is just so strong because of her kit. So we're using Narbash here. He is fairly meta. Decker is very meta. Both fairly similar, obviously the same affinities, but we're just going to use Narbash here as an example. So obviously the Centurion as your prime card, you want to just stay alive, be a tank, body block, absorb shots, just like that, etc, etc. Now, like I said earlier, there are simply some cards you just can't go without. And that is what's not the most exciting about supports, is that it's kind of mandatory cards you gotta get all the time. And what are those cards? Quenching Scales, Honor the Pure, Purity Sensor, which isn't necessarily needed all the time. Not all the time. Absolutely need a ward. At this point, you could go for the Guardians, for the Lords, for the Sages, whatever. I tend to go for the Lord's Ward, to be perfectly honest with you. And then after that, it's kind of up to you. At this point, I just kind of go Quenching Scales. I feel this to get that unique bonus. You want that with 1 point upgrades because you want to unlock it as soon as possible. You go for Honor the Pure next because it's just that powerful. You get your Lord's Ward and a Purity Sensor as an option. And a Purity Sensor is one of those ones where if you don't need it, if there isn't an Aurora and a Phase or something like that on the enemy team, well, there could be some other options. Stasis Gem. Yes, that is a good. That is a good idea. Stasis Gem for Narbash. Yeah, it's true, eh? Divine Shield. It's so finicky, though. One ability every 45 seconds? Like, for Gideon, I totally get it. For Gideon, I totally get it. But for Narbash? Okay, his ult. Is it really that important? Ash of the Witch is ult, but you just need tank. To be honest with you, you just need tank. That's about it, isn't it? Oh, Nature's Muse. Yes, Nature's Muse. Yes, Nature's Muse as an option for Purity Sensor. That's true. That's true. Yes, Nature's Muse and Purity Sensor. Right. Yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. As an option against Purity Sensor, I really like Nature's Muse. It has a potential to do quite a bit if you're coordinated and if you use it appropriately. I think that Nature's Muse is a good card to go as an option against Purity Sensor. So we're going to go that with the Nature's Muse in here instead of the Purity Sensor. Now this is going to be a 9-point card, so we're going to make this Purity Sensor a 9-point card. It's health, you need it anyway. Great way to keep it simple so you can swap between the two. We're gonna get rid of Purity Sensor though just for now so that we can go total 60 CP here. At this point, you just need tankiness. You're a support, especially Narbash as melee in melee range. You need tankiness, and for that, we just simply go in here and see what our options are in terms of armor. Now, for armor for Narbash, I don't think Mad Sport Sash is overly viable. I don't think you're going to get that tanky to stay in the battle and have that radiate actually do something. Scorpion Plate, I don't think, again, you're going to be reliably hitting people enough for that to be useful. Spiked Bone Plate, power, I'd much rather just get tankiness. Tempered Plate. Honestly, just a Tempered Plate. We're going to go with 3 Divine Guards because physical, because basic damage is very prevalent, and combating basic damage requires a lot of guard. Same with overall EHP. Again, go check out my health versus armor video, as that kind of really explains everything and why, in general, in most scenarios, you're going to need more basic armor than ability armor. We're going to go that with the Tempered Plate, and now we need our And now we need our ability armor. Now, ability armor is has interesting options. Divine Shield on Narbash is a consideration. He has a channeled ultimate. If you really want that ultimate to maybe go off as the enemy team as an easy stun for you to kind of cancel you out of it, Divine Shield is an option. But I don't know. This is where it's really up to debate here which one is going to be is just going to be better. Divine Shield, Thermobond, or just a simple tuned barrier, to be honest with you. I have a really tough time. Which one do we get? I think, to be honest with you, maybe Thermobond and Divine Shield are going to be our two cards that we choose between in order to get our ability damage. So let's go for Divine Shield here. Let's go for Divine Shield here with 2/2 to make this a 12-point card, and Thermobond 2 and 2 to make this a 12-point card as well. At this point, we have to take a look at our cards here and see. We'll only get one for now, just so we can see the total CP here. Now we take a look at our total deck and get to 60 CP. Supports very rarely get to 60 CP, so don't have to worry about this too much. But right now, again, if you go see my armor versus health video, you'll see we need a ton more health. A ton more health. So really, it's a simple process here to go 2/2/2. See where we're at. 5 more health. 2, 2, and 1. We're splitting that up because supports are very starved for CP, so we can very easily get we can more easily get our health in smaller upgrades rather than gigantic big ones. After this here, we're at 60 CP. This is our total deck. I make a little note in my notepad of what this is, and then now we add our options. Again, here we have our mandatory cards here: Tempered Plate, Nord's Ward, Quenching Scales, Honor the Pure. Our Nature's Muse, we have an option of our Purity Sensor, and our Thermobond, we have an option of our Divine Shield. I'm just going to add that very quickly here. Purity Sensor with a lesser health, right? Yeah. And then Thermobond or Divine Shield. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah. Seriously need that much health. You seriously need that much health. No word of a lie. Now at this point here, we have our Purity Sensor as an option against Nature's Muse, and our Divine Shield as an option against Thermobond. Whichever one you need in your game is the one that you get. Now I am personally going to get a little bit less health and just a wee bit more barrier. I simply think that we need a little bit more barrier just to kind of cut down the burst damage that can come from those abilities. Now at this point here, we simply go into the early game. We get what we need in the early game, and then we fill in the mid game, which on supports, it's not really much there, to be honest with you. In the early game, you definitely need your dummy ward. I always make it a Guardian's ward here, and then Narbash has an interesting opportunity because he can convert mana into health. Depends. You can either get a whole bunch of mana potions and stuff like that to just rely on his ability, but for me, I'm going to make it simple with what I do with a lot of other supports: Shepherd's File, Mender's File, and Scout's Ward. If you're not anticipating too much damage from the enemy offlaner, so that you can have versatility, more vision on the map to save you guys, or if you're anticipating a lot of offlane pressure from maybe a Moragesh, Circlet of Health is absolutely a very good card indeed. I'm still on the fence with whether Circlet of Health, fully upgrading it to get the global aura is actually worth it or not. But you know what? Maybe it is. Let's throw that in there. So in the early game, start off with your dummy ward, place that, come back for Shepherd's File, Manager's File, and Scout's Ward, or a Circlet of Health, just to make it nice and easy. And then after that, you get your Lord's Ward, you go into your Quenching Scales, you go into your Honor the Pure, and that's it. To be honest with you guys, that is it. One good card that I like on some supports as a option, if you're doing really well, you have a lot of CP for some reason, and you really you don't need to go into Honor the Pure, which is pretty crazy, I know, but it can happen, is getting a Silver Spear with some health regen to keep your sustain, or its other contemporary with mana regen to increase your sustain that way. Now we need a little bit more equipment slots, which we can actually do here. We can kind of combine these barriers here into two divine barriers on this, and this divine shield here as this. I'm going to leave the health as 2-point cards just because, well, just because we want that health much more than the armor, and we want that more accessible. Now at this point here, we're going to go into that that Silver Spear here, or the Quartz Blade. It's kind of whatever. I like the idea of the mana regen on the Quartz Blade and that health, but it has a little bit more power. I really like the Silver Spear for that health regen and that mana. It's kind of up to you. For Narbash, let's go with the Quartz Blade. It has 2 CP of power, 1 of health. Let's add 1 more health. Let's add a mana regen. And you know what? Let's add another health. Some tankiness in there as a support that you need. Mana regens for Narbash to use his abilities more often. And a little bit of power, just because it actually does work on his stun quite a bit. There. That's an optional mid-game card, early game card. If you have a lot of CP for whatever reason, you can go into that. There you go. That is how I make my decks, guys, for supports. You can see how the options, I start in the late game. I think of what cards are pretty much mandatory for them. Then I go into my tankiness. What are some good options? What are some kind of mandatory ones? And then I just kind of fill in the rest of the deck with what you need. You then go to the early game, which for supports is kind of dictated for you, unfortunately, by the importance of some of these really good cards. And then the mid game, well, you are probably not getting Quartz Blade here, or the Elysian Diamond is another good one. Kind of some options there. That's how I build my supports, guys. Hopefully you guys found this useful. I think there's some good things here that you guys could learn from. Please let me know down in the comments if you guys have any other tips, as I would love for people to be able to learn not only from me, but also from you. There you go, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. You guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account, where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive. Okay. There we go, baby. Yeah. There you go. How was that? Was that good? Is that good? Is that kind of good? That was a 13-minute video, and my others were 21 and 25. Oh boy. Wow. Jeez. I hope that's useful. Building decks for supports unfortunately hasn't been overly exciting. Ever since Paragon, I started playing Paragon, They've been fairly... Purity Sensor is one of those ones where if you don't need it, if there isn't an Aurora, and which one do we get? I think, to be honest with you, maybe Thermobond and Divine Shield are going to be our two cards that we choose between in order to get our ability damage. So let's go for Divine Shield here.
Ability Armor. Damn it.
Let's
Ability Armor.
Shield here with 2 to make this a 12-point card, and Thermobond 2 and 2 to make this a 12-point card as well. At this point, we have to take a look at our cards here and see. We'll only get one for now, just so we can see the total CP here. Now we need details on those abilities. The offlaner, place that, get the options of which we can. Comments if you guys have support me and what I rewards. Till next, I think there's Davey got we're here with 2 to make this a. There you go. Why not use unlinked upgrades? SXDX. One, I'm not smart enough to figure out I'm not smart enough to figure that out. 2, I just want to give people like a simple, easy to use stuff. And I think that would be for Divine and Thermobond. Unlinked upgrades for Divine and Thermobond. Oh. SXDX, did you just completely blow my mind? Did you just completely blow my mind? Are you serious? Did you just completely blow my mind? I think you did. You completely just blew my mind. What? How have I been playing Paragon for over a year and that's never occurred to me? What? Are you serious right now? Wow. Wow. Alt F4. Alt F4 uninstall. Holy cow. 3-3. So how do you can you add upgrades in this? Oh my god. Smash! 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 Are you serious right now? Oh my goodness. Are you serious right now? Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? I have so many decks to redo. Oh no. Oh no. SXDX, why did you have to do this to me? Oh, SXDX. Oh, why did you do this to me, man? Oh no. You can just use you can just use unlinked upgrades for your optional cards. Oh. All my full decks now can have. Oh no. What would be the reason you would want to do that? So, for example, Thermobond and Divine Shield here are two cards that you have to choose between. You pick one or the other. Instead of having 4 upgrades, 2 3-point barriers on each, instead of having 4 cards just sitting here, 2 on Divine Shield, 2 on Thermobond, what you can do is unlink those 2, so they're just sitting here, and then when you decide which one to get, you then get those 2 unlinked upgrades. Basically saving you those upgrades on the other card that's sitting there doing nothing. Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Oh my god, I have so many decks to redo. Oh no. Oh no, SSDX, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me, man? Oh no, man. Oh. I mean, there's not... I've been doing that... I've been doing that for not that long. But oh no. Oh no, man. But then again, when you want to switch between the cards, you lose the upgrades. Oh, that's a good point, but you don't want to switch. There will either be a lot of stuns, roots, and lockups, or there won't. And you just gotta make the decision. Do you want Divine Shield, or do you want Thermobond? You know. So. Oh my goodness. Mind blown. Alright guys, well thank you. Thank you guys very much for watching. I kind of feel bad that there's so many of you. There's so many of you watching and I have to go. I'm sorry. Kind of feel bad, but sun is up, dinner time, family time. It's the weekend. It's family time. So let's see who else is streaming here. Let's see who else is streaming here, so we can host them in return. Let's see here. Streaming here. Who is? Shut up. Faye! Guys, no, please don't go anywhere. Please don't go away. Please don't. Please head on over to Faye. Please follow her. Oh my god, please. You guys on YouTube? You guys on YouTube, please don't. Please, there's 28 of you. Please click that link. Head on over to Faye. Oh my goodness, she's gonna be so happy. Please head on over to Faye. She is absolutely amazing, deserves all of your support. She absolutely, there should be a sub button right here. There should be a freaking sub button. Should absolutely be a sub button. Please head on over there. Give her your support. You can actually subscribe to her. Where is it? There. On Game Wisp. Please head on over there. She's absolutely fantastic. Please do that. Please do that. We're gonna host her, so you guys on YouTube, please click that link. Head on over there. She absolutely deserves it. She's absolute doll. She's amazing. Please do that. We're gonna host her. Thank you guys for watching. I very much appreciate it. Thank you PCL guys for the host as well. If you guys are still watching. Do we need some Sylphin Inception first though? Thank you PCL guys for the host as well. If you guys are still watching. Do we need Sylphin Inception first though? I think we do. What do you guys think? What do you guys think, eh? I think we do. Do we want some Sylphin Inception? I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. I'm just kidding. All right, host Faye X. Oh, thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you guys on Monday. I stream 10 to 3 Central Standard Time every Monday to Friday. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Head on over to Faye. She's absolutely amazing. She's just wonderful. Give her all your support. Wonderful person in our community. So guys, those videos will come out soon. The first one will come out tomorrow. How to create some decks. So thank you guys very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Until next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.